now we're here on Friday, and you are checking out. Hopefully, you enjoyed part one of the SEC bowl preview. Me and Kevin decided we were going to wear the same clothes that we wore for part one
Yeah,
in the same location.
I was literally going to get up and go put something else on real quick and come back, but that's okay.
So that's what we're doing here. So, joke we record. Just let everybody know behind the scenes. We record it in one shot, but I split it up into two podcasts. But so now we are doing part two of the bowl predictions, and we're not getting there yet. They're the next game. So Kevin, I know you're excited about a certain bowl game we are going to talk about. I was not. There you go. There you go. I was, for the audience watching this. They just got a good shot at what Kevin is wearing here on the podcast, and that means you need to go check out on YouTube if you're listening on the audio only version to see the t-shirt Kevin is wearing, because it is going to bring in the audience. I can guarantee you that on that one. But we are going to kick part two off with the Outback Ball. This is obviously on New Year's Day at 11 a.m. ESPN2. It is Penn State, who went 7-5 this year, against number 21 Arkansas, who went 8-4. Penn State is actually a 2.5-point favorite in this one. Now, Arkansas will be without all-star, all everything receiver Treylon Burks in this one, as he has opted out. Go ahead and get ready for the NFL draft. But you know what? I saw Penn State play Auburn. I see him play a couple times this year. I don't think they do well against a physical team like Arkansas. Arkansas is going to come out. They're going to want to establish the run. I like KJ Jefferson, the quarterback. Defensively, they're solid. Barry Odom. I like Arkansas to win this against Penn State.
Well, see, here we go. We're starting off again agreeing on everything. So, I'm with you. I really like Arkansas. I like what Sam Pittman is doing down there. You think about last season. I went on record that last year that Arkansas wouldn't win a game. And they ended up winning 3, and going from that to going 8-4 this year. And honestly, they had a couple of those games that they could have won. And as I said, I think with you, I think KJ Jefferson may probably will be the difference. I mean, I know Penn State is used to kind of playing some physical teams in the Big Ten, but I just think Arkansas has too many, even without the player who opted out. I just think they have still have too many weapons, and I'm going to say Arkansas in a close one, like maybe 3 points.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting, with James Franklin and all that stuff, but it's just, and also them heading down here to Florida, that always seems like a bad setup sometimes for the Big Ten teams coming down to Florida. And Sam Pittman, what he's done at Arkansas, I mean, let's just think where that program was 2 years ago. I mean, they weren't winning games in the SEC under Chad Morris, and that really tells me one thing about Chad Morris. He recruited some good players, but the on-field product just wasn't there. So what Sam Pittman's there is beyond amazing. And I know Kirby Smart won Coach of the Year this year. You can make a state. There's 3 guys I think that really should have been up for that award, and not Kirby Smart, because look, you're just like Nick Saban. You get 5 stars every single year. You're supposed to be really good. What Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Arkansas did this year, those 3 coaches, Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach, who we talked about in part 1, and now Sam Pittman. Those are guys I would have put in that, but I don't try to get off too much on a tangent here on the.
And like I said, you could have thrown. We talked about this in the first part. You could throw Shane Beamer in there. You could throw, Heupel, any of those guys. But usually if you look at those awards, it's usually okay. Whoever won the league is usually who wins Coach of the Year, unless somebody went from winning no games to winning 9 or something. So, but I agree with you. I mean, giving it to Kirby's like, okay, well, great. You guys were the best team in the regular season. So there you go. But yeah, so we'll see. But now we're up to the most exciting game of the entire, not really, but the game I care about the most, of course. So
yes,
I'll flash the Citrus Bowl shirt again.
There you go. This is the main event. The Citrus Bowl, like you said, number 15 Iowa at 10-3, playing at number 22. Well, not at, but Kentucky's listed as the home team here at 9-3. This is on New Year's Day at 12 o'clock over on ABC, and Kentucky's 3-point favorite. Kevin, I'm just going to say this. Iowa is not good on offense, and a lot of people are going to look. Well, this is two teams are saying no. Kentucky can score with what they have with Will Levis at quarterback, Chris Rodriguez at running back, and then Wandel Robinson at receiver. And I like Kentucky to win this one. I actually like to win them pretty big on this one.
Sorry, I'm laughing. You might have seen my daughter was literally crawling across the floor here trying to plug in her Fitbit because of like the chart. It was almost out of charge. So anyway, my daughter, hi Mary Beth, thinks she made an appearance on your podcast. But like I said, Kentucky, there's a lot of interesting storylines in this one. You have, every year everybody tries at some point to put Mark Stoops up against his alma mater. Stoops was a defensive back in Iowa, in the late 80s, and every year, and this is the year that it finally worked out. And for Kentucky, it's the second Citrus Bowl, in 4 years, and there's a lot of excitement around this program. Like I said, they're going for their second. Kentucky's won 10 games in the season like 3 times since 1950, and if Kentucky can win this one, it'll be 4. And a big thing on Iowa's side, Tyler Goodson opted out. They're all everything running back. Ran for 1,150 yards this year. He opted out of the bowl game. So, as you said, Iowa wasn't really good on on offense to begin with. And so I definitely think Kentucky has an edge. Knock on wood, as we're recording, no one from Kentucky has opted out of any bowl game or anything. I think the biggest and it's been this way almost every game this year. The biggest thing for Kentucky is going to be turnovers. Iowa is one of the best in the country. They've got like a plus 13 turnover margin, and Kentucky's one of the worst in the country. I think it's like a minus 13. If Kentucky holds on to the ball, Will Levis, no interceptions, nothing. I think Kentucky. What's the point? The point spread's like 2.5 points right now or something. I think Kentucky probably wins, by a touchdown, if not more. I'll be conservative and say a touchdown, say like 24-17 or 27-20, something like that. So, and it may be hard for Iowa to get that many points. It just depends. How it all works out. But yeah, I think, I look for Levis to have a big game. I have Wandel Robinson, of course, there's, theories. Could this be his, I think it's a definite, he's at least going to explore the NFL draft, because you can't have the kind of season that he did, 94 catches, setting the UK all-time record with, still 1 game to go. I think he's at least going to explore his options. I think maybe he will come back. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but yes, I'm going to say Kentucky by a touchdown. And if things worked out, maybe even more. They said they beat Penn State in the Citrus Bowl 4 years ago. So 2 Citrus Bowls, 2 10-win seasons in 4 years would be quite the accomplishment for Mark Stoops, who just signed a contract extension through 2027. So. It's looking forward, for obvious reasons. Just really looking forward to that game and seeing what happens.
I feel like there's a little bit of a disrespect for this game with the over/under, and maybe it's just because they think Iowa can't score, but also maybe they think Kentucky is like Kentucky has been before, which they're not. They can throw the ball. They have a much better offense they've had in previous years. The over/under is 44 in this game, and I believe it's going to go over that. And that's because what Kentucky will bring offensively. Iowa will probably get some points in there, and like you said, they get some turnovers. Especially early in the year when they were undefeated, got to number 2 in the country, they were creating points with their defense. So that possibility is there. I know Will Levis has had moments this year where he's kind of got turnover prone a little bit, or turnover happy,
right?
So that obviously is there. I'm sticking with Kentucky. I like them to win by 7 to 10 points here, but that over under, I think it's going to go over, just because I think Kentucky's going to put up some points here.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I said 27. I'll say 27-20. So that puts us over the over. So there we go.
So now we got the Sugar Bowl, and this will be the last game on New Year's Day. This is a 7:45 kickoff on ESPN. So, Kevin, that's 8:45 for you. So that is a late kickoff for you people on the Eastern time. Yeah, that's a late kickoff, people in the Central time zone, but really on the Eastern side. This is Baylor, number 7, 11-2, Big 12 champions. Some people try to argue to get them into the playoff. Then you got Ole Miss, who went 10-2. They're number 8 overall. Baylor's a 1-point favorite in this game. The over-under is set at 55. Baylor's a very balanced team. 215 yards average passing, 214 rushing. Really good defense at 19.2. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss, we know what we can do with Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral. I think it was 7th in the Heisman voting. But I think a lot of people are underselling the Ole Miss defense. They give up a lot of yards. They give up points at times, but they get after the quarterback. 40 sacks on the year, which is 3rd in the conference. And if anybody knows me, my favorite coach in college football is Lane Kiffin. He's my absolute favorite. I have to check out his tweets all the time. I like Matt Corral. I think Matt Corral is going to try to impress for the NFL, and Lane Kiffin wants to get that 11th win for Ole Miss. I'm going with the Ole Miss Rebels in this one.
Yeah, as you said earlier, I think you could really make the case that Lane Kiffin should have been the coach of the year this year. I'm all about the Lane train, for lack of a better term. I think, as you said, I think 10 wins is the most they've ever had in school history. I believe in the season.
In regular season, yeah.
In a regular season, as you said, going for that 11th win. I think, I know I'm going to say it again, but I think this is going to be a really fun matchup because, like I said, you have Baylor has the pretty strong defense, and then the fact that I was a little surprised that Corral finished 7th. I think he was a lot higher in our last word. We do a Heisman ballot every week that Jason Ray, who does an amazing job there, runs, and I think he was higher than that there. I was surprised he was that low, but that's another story for another time. But I said, he's committed to playing in the game, and as you said, I think he's looking to put on a show in this game. And like I said, most of the people have said they think, I was just looking at some picks. Baylor's going to win, but I'm going to agree with you again. I'm going to pick Ole Miss. And like I said, I think it's going to be a fun game. And I don't remember, what did you say the over-under was?
The over-under on this one is 55.
55. They may struggle to get that, just depending on. But as you said, Ole Miss, I don't think the biggest difference from Ole Miss last year to this year has been the defense, because they were winning games like 55-48 or 60-52 or some ridiculous score, and you're not seeing it this year, and it's because their defense is so much improved. And so, like I said, I think Ole Miss's ability to stop possibly Baylor on defense is going to be the key. And like I said, I'll pick Ole Miss in this one.
So the final one we're going to get to before we go back to New Year's Eve and preview the playoff games. The Texas Bowl will be played on January 4th. This will be the last game before the national championship game. 8 o'clock kickoff that night on ESPN. Kansas State is a 1-point favorite over LSU. LSU 6-6 on the year. Of course, they're bringing in their new who I did not know was Cajun. Brian Kelly is coming on. I did not know that about him. I'm glad to see that he brought that out to us a couple weeks ago with his family. And Kansas State 7-5 on the year. I'm going to say this. With no Max Johnson, and we don't know what LSU is going to do quarterback-wise, because if Garrett Nussmeier plays in this game, he completely wasted a redshirt because he's already played in 4 games this year. Mm-hmm. It seems like they wanted to keep that redshirt on him. We'll see what Brian Kelly wants to do. Kansas State 7-5. I'm going to go with Kansas State with this one. I know Brandon Eisman, you're not going to be happy with me on that one, but I am going to go with Kansas State in this one, just because the quarterback question marks for LSU coming in.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I just don't see, Kansas State's, the running back Deuce Vaughn. I just don't see them being able to contain him. Like I said, whatever happened in that last game with Texas A&M. Like I said, I never thought in a million years that LSU would win that game. Like I said, I used the point in our part one that. With Florida, that some of the LSU guys might be trying to impress Brian Kelly, here looking into next season in his Cajun man accent or whatever. I'm beating myself on that one. If anybody remembers, like Saturday Night Live, I think it was. But I just don't see LSU winning this game, and I could be wrong. I just like I said, with you have no idea. Because you don't want to. Wasting the red shirt in a bowl game would just, to me, would be absolutely ridiculous. And so who knows who they're going to play at quarterback? Like I said, I'm going to go Kansas State, maybe like 3-point game. So that's my pick on that one.
Yeah, look, LSU could prove me wrong. I was with you. I didn't think they'd beat A&M and even get to a bowl game. So we'll see. I feel like I need to do like a Reese Davis impersonation at this point now, because it's like we're on game day, and then this is the big game. I just don't have the crowd behind me to really get hyped up. But this is what we're here for, the college football playoffs. And we're going to start off on December 31st. Number 4 Cincinnati, 13-0. They finally broke the glass ceiling. I think Reese Davis will say something like that. I don't know what you think, Kevin. They're going up against the juggernaut, the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide, coming off that big SEC championship victory over the Georgia Bulldogs. This will be at 30 on ESPN on New Year's Eve. Alabama is listed as a 13.5-point favorite. I agree. I believe Alabama wins this game. I'm picking Alabama here. I believe Cincinnati will come out, though, inspired. They are going to look to prove that they belong on this stage. The first time a group of 5 team gets to the college football playoff. I think Desmond Ridder is the best quarterback Alabama would have seen all year. We've seen other quarterbacks light them up. I have questions. Can they hold up on the offensive line? Can they block Will Anderson? I do not think they can. I am going to go with Alabama to win this by 2 touchdowns, but I do believe we will have an exciting, close 2.5 quarters. Alabama pulls away late. Remember, they don't have John Minchie in this game. How Alabama does that with Sauce Gardner, he should be on Jameson Williams, but Alabama's just a better team. I'm going to go with the Tide.
See, this would be the point. If I was Lee Corso, I'd say, not so fast, my friend. But anyway, I can't disagree with this. Just face it, this is awesome that Cincinnati got in. You think like Central Florida probably should have got in a few years ago. It's great that it finally happened. There was somebody I posted, follow on Twitter. I can't remember, one of the national sports writers was like, I just heard that they're going to make the playoff only three teams this year so that Cincinnati can't get in, something like that. But I think it's awesome for football to see Cincinnati finally, it should break the glass ceiling, whatever you want to call it, get in here. And I think they're going to come out, as you said, for a couple of quarters, a half, maybe 2.5 quarters. They're going to come out and like play the game of their life. And without, Mechie on Alabama's side, you do wonder, which other 5-star receiver they're going to have, Bryce Young will throw to. But like I said, I just see Alabama, as you said, maybe, I would not be surprised to see it like a touchdown game at the half. And then eventually Alabama just kind of wears them down. And then, as you said, talking about it with Anderson, I say they kind of pull away in the second half. I'll say like 38-17, something like that. But, I think Cincinnati puts in a heck of a showing, and, and honestly just proves that that they belong there. And you figure, if they score some points, they'll be at least better than what Notre Dame has done in some of these games. So, but yep, I went there anyway. So,
I don't think I have a big Notre Dame contingency listening to the podcast. So I think we should be okay on that.
That's
one.
True. Yeah. So we're supposed to pick, because we're supposed to pick all SEC teams, right? Because it's the SEC podcast, but I just couldn't do it. So.
So let me channel Reese Davis one more time for the audience. Now, in the Orange Bowl, number 3 Georgia, coming off the loss to Alabama, will take on number 2 Michigan, who's also 12-1, Big Ten champions with Jim Harbaugh. This will be at 6:30 on ESPN. Georgia is listed as a 7-point favorite. And this will be a contest that would make Vince Dooley and Bo Schembechler happy. 2 physical line of scrimmage play here on the offensive, defensive line, running ball, quarterbacks who don't turn the ball over. Who wins? I think Georgia's going to win this game. This is my pick. I think they're going to come out. You know how it was all talked about by Nick Saban that they felt disrespected going into the SEC championship game. Now Kirby Smart can deliver that message to his team that you were questioned. Some people are saying you were exposed. You weren't as good as you said you were in the year. Michigan's had a tremendous season. These two teams mirror each other. Stetson Bennett and also at the same time Cade McNamara are the quarterbacks that are pretty much the same. Run the ball, great defensive line. You got Jordan Davis on the Georgia side. You got Aiden Hutchinson, who finished second in the Heisman Trophy voting on Michigan side. I think Georgia is just a more talented team. They're going to come out to send a message that they were not exposed, they were not overhyped, and I like Georgia. I think this will be a close physical football game. I do, but I like Georgia to win.
Yeah, I like Georgia. Here's just a random question. Whatever happened to JT Daniels? Is he? I mean, is he actually hurt? Is he? Nothing against Stetson Bennett, but if you have Daniels available, why do you never play him? That's just unless he's hurt or he's just not wanting to play or whatever. I just a random thought. I don't know if you heard. You're closer down there than I am, so I didn't know if you've heard anything or.
I think it's just Daniels got hurt and then Bennett took over and they played well. I mean, up until the Alabama game, I was kind of wondering if Kirby Smart was going to pull Nick Saban and go to the backup quarterback, but he never did in that one. So I don't know. That was kind of puzzling to me. I still believe they're going to need JT Daniels to win a championship. So if they play Alabama again, they're going to need JT Daniels at some point. They may not need him against Michigan. We'll see. Bennett struggles. Maybe they go to Daniels in the second half against Michigan. But it's a good point because I believe that Daniels is the better passer, but maybe, Stetson Bennett just is the team responds better to Stetson Bennett.
Right. I was just looking up, two, pretty significant, story programs. Like the two teams, they've only played twice in history. And the last time they played was 1965. It was like they played in 1957 and 1965, and they split their two games. It's kind of amazing that it's been, what would it be, 60 some years since or almost 60 years since they played. I'm with you. I think Georgia is, we talked about, do teams, how much teams have motivation in a bowl game. I think Georgia has all the motivation in the world based on how they performed against Alabama in that championship game. On the flip side of the ball, I wonder about, Michigan. It's like, okay, well, we finally got over that hump. We Jim Harbaugh finally got, what he was paid to do and beat Ohio State. And, are they still on that high from that? And then maybe, come out as a bit of a letdown. But, I think if Georgia plays like they played the other 13 weeks of the season, then Georgia wins. But I think it's going to be a close game. I'll say, Georgia maybe by like 6. But I also agree with you that I think at some point, I guess we'll talk about this in the next game. I think, maybe, Daniels, you have to give Daniels a shot, in the championship game, especially if Bennett struggles again, like he did in that first game.
That's the thing with me. Obviously we both pick Alabama, we both pick Georgia here, and everybody hollering at us if they're for some reason not an SEC fan. So look at that SEC homerism going on here. But just kind of I feel like it's going that direction. But I have a hard time if Stetson Bennett's the quarterback, I think Alabama wins. Alabama can still win. I think Alabama obviously is still a big favorite if JT Daniels is the quarterback, but that gives Georgia a better opportunity. But I said after that SEC championship game, I'm not picking against Nick Saban unless it's Dabo Swinney on the other sideline. That's basically the only time I may pick against Saban now. So I think Alabama's going to be the champion. But if JT Daniels is the quarterback, if these two teams match up again, that gives Georgia, I think, a better opportunity to win because he has more of a likelihood of being able to match Bryce Young score for score versus what Stetson Bennett can do.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to be the. We'll wait till we get to this game and then we'll disagree. I'm going to pick Georgia in the rematch. So I'll do my lead Corso. Not so fast, my friend. Anyway,
where's the headgear?
Sorry, I don't have anything on me right now. Sorry. I have like a hat. I have a closet full of hats over here, but I could get. I just think Georgia played so badly in that first game that that there's going to be that extra motivation, and I think they're going to try to come out and they're going to play the game of their lives, kind of like we talked about with Cincinnati earlier, and it still may not be enough to beat Alabama. I mean, if if Alabama wins the championship again this year, it's just like, okay, it's almost to the point the rest of the football might as well just give up. Because, if this was ever a year that Alabama wasn't going to win, on paper, this was that year, and here they are again. They're in the playoff. Not only the playoff, they're the number 1 seed, and they're kind of the favorite, going in as the favorite again. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go way off course. I'm gonna pick Georgia to win in a close game in a rematch. So that's where I'm going to go, just so that way we can end these with a little bit of disagreement. So
yeah, we'll have to. I have to on social media somewhere put up some accountability. Where we picked and who did what. So kind of throw it out there for everybody to after all of this.
I mean, at this point, it was 2 days ago. Wink, wink. I can't remember who I picked in the first game. So, but I'm kidding.
Yeah, we're just wearing the same clothes that we did on Wednesday. That's when people saw this and
so I should have put. I should have put a hat on. That way, we've been. I would have looked a little bit different or something. But anyway, so top of my head doesn't shine. But that's another story. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I'm going to pick Georgia. Just for no other reason than I just have, and I'm probably going to be wrong, and that's fine. And everyone, all the wonderful listeners and viewers, of your podcast can be like, like the Nelson from The Simpsons or whatever. And that's fine. So, but that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Georgia.
Well, it should be a fun SEC bowl season. The actual bowl season does kick off this week. Actually, when you're watching this, the bowl season is starting on today, on Friday. So football,
which reminds me, there's a bowl preview I need to be working on. So because that's one of the obvious plug here for Last Word on College Football. To me, it's one of the fun things about working for them is like everybody picks a couple bowl games and does previews, and it's usually teams you have no idea about. I tried like the New Orleans Bowl. For whatever reason, the New Orleans Bowl is like one of my favorite games every year. And, like this year, Western Kentucky, I think, or no, not Western, whichever game Western Kentucky was in, I was trying to pick that one because I was trying to keep the whole Kentucky thing, but somebody had already chosen that one. So I took like the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, just the fact that, Jimmy Kimmel sponsoring a bowl game, I think is just both hilarious and awesome. So, I'm diving into that right now because, that game, as we're talking today, that game is, tomorrow night at 8:00, I believe, or 7:00 as the case may be. But we, looking forward to those games. Like I said, and that to me, that's the fun about the bowl games is that, as I said, back in part 1, I will sit and watch, oh, there's a bowl game on. Who's playing? It doesn't matter. I'll just sit and watch it anyway. So, I can't always do that with pro football, but with college football, if there's a game on, it could be, whoever, and I probably would still, sit down and at least watch some of it. So, but like I said, but my point, that's one of the more fun things that we get to do is cover, other teams, at least for a few days that we never probably would pay any attention to the rest of the year. So,
yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I look forward to doing as well. And Kevin, this has been a lot of fun. We have in total, we did an hour bowl preview, but of course, splitting this up, we have split this up into 2 shows. So it's been a lot of fun doing this.
Yes, sir.
Through 14 games. We had a lot of. We'll see how many people we upset with our bowl predictions here.
I guess we could throw one more insult in there. I hear Vanderbilt's playing Texas in the bowl game, but sorry. And then go from there. Sorry.
The toilet bowl.
Yes. Apologies to all my apologies to all the Vanderbilt people. But of course, hey, Texas is getting ready to join the SEC, so there you go. So
there you go. It just means more, Kevin. It
does. On a serious note, I'm curious how this is all going to work out. If the SEC is going to go to the 9-game schedule, with when they add Oklahoma, and how they're going to split up the divisions. As a Kentucky fan and as a Kentucky person, the thing that we all keep hearing up here is that they're looking at moving Alabama and Auburn to the SEC East, which I don't know how you would feel about that, as opposed to being you probably like that because most years the East is perceived a little lower. The West is always considered to be a little bit better than the East, but
they can't beat Georgia any year, so they ain't never going to go to Atlanta if they go to the East.
Yeah, that's the thing that not worried, but that's the thing that we keep hearing up here is that if that happens, they keep talking about moving Alabama. So as opposed to playing them once every 7 years, you play them, every year now. So, which, as you said, that's really going to hinder, your chances of making it to Atlanta. But then again, if that were to happen, you might get, Georgia and Alabama playing every year. So, but then it opens up, it opens up a lot of possibilities. Like I said, I'm very curious to see when it starts and when it happens and how it goes from there. But, and then if they go to the 9-game schedule, like on the Kentucky standpoint, do you drop like the series with Louisville? That's something that's been talked about up here. Because Kentucky, has those 3 games every year they always schedule that, are supposedly the easy wins. So, would they give up one of those games and keep playing Louisville or, something like that? But anyways, it's just I just threw Texas out there, and it just made me think about the upcoming schedule. And I didn't know, as the Auburn person, what you thought about, if y'all had heard anything like that down that way about maybe moving to the East.
I've heard they're moving to the Sun Belt. That's the last I heard.
So, gotcha. Well, is there anybody left in the Sun? Oh, wait, no, is that which
Conference USA? Conference USA got raised by the Sun Belt. It's like, okay, the Sun Belt made a power play, so we're going to take your team. So we're going to jump over you.
Yeah, that's right. It's the Sun Belt. Yeah,
the Sun Belt. I think by some people, especially throughout the whole country, would probably think Sun Belt's probably like the worst conference. I would take the Sun Belt over the MAC every single time with the teams they have. When you've got Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Louisiana, Troy, which your guy's there now,
right? Yeah. John Summerall. I think it's an awesome hire for Samford. He coached down there before. I think was an assistant, and he is staying at Kentucky through the bowl game, which I think is kind of cool because a lot of people, a lot of coaches don't do that, but he wanted, he's like, I've been with these guys all this time. I'm going to stick out for this last game, and he's already gotten one transfer from Kentucky, quarterback Nick Scalzo. The name sounds familiar. He was on the Netflix series, the QB1, I think it was. He's had a lot of injury troubles and just, never really got to that point where he was going to get a lot of playing time. But I think he could go down there, and I think he can crush it and do a really, really great job and be a really, really good quarterback under Coach Summerall down there. So, but that's, but anyway, but yeah, like I said, I think it's a great hire for them, and I'd be very excited about the future.
Yeah, I will be too. So it's gonna be fun, and like I said, Kevin, this was fun. Previewing the bowl games with you.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk after the season and all that good stuff about Kentucky and all good stuff SEC. But if the listeners want to follow you, or the viewers also, if they want to follow you online, where can they find you and check out all the work you're doing?
It's on Twitter. It's at Kevin McGuffey. So, I told you this story before when I first joined Twitter. I went through like 10 different names, like nicknames, various things, and every one of them was already taken. So I'm like, okay, hopefully nobody has my name. So that's just what I went with. And of course, then for you and for everybody, if you want to follow your work, last word on CFB on Twitter, last word on college football. Encourage everybody listening, watching to check the site out. It's we have, I don't even know how many writers we have now, like maybe close to 30 or 25 or 30 or something. That we cover a lot of the teams in the SEC, Oklahoma, UCLA, some of the bigger, Notre Dame, some of the bigger teams around the country. Definitely, you're looking for some, college football, year round, because we're always working on stories, year round. Definitely, give that a look too. But at Kevin McGuffey on Twitter is the easiest way to find me.
All right. Sounds good. Kevin, go check out his and all the great writers we have. of our last word on college football. Great bowl coverage. All the bowls will be wrote about and all that good stuff. So, anyways, Kevin, I appreciate the time and look forward to doing this again sometime down the road.
Thank you very much for having me on. And if I don't talk to you again, hope you have a wonderful holiday season.